Hello students, welcome back. So in this session, we are going to be covering typecasting in Python and the input functions in Python that allows you to get input from the user. So what exactly is a typecasting? Well, typecasting means converting one data type into another data type. So for example, converting an integer data type to a float data type or string to an integer or an integer to string, just to name few of them. So Python, it does provide you some built-in functions that do the typecasting for you. Question is, why do we even need typecasting? Why do we even need functions like this? Well, first of all, your user input, anytime when you get input from a user, it is always going to be a string. So maybe you want to perform multiplication. Maybe you want to perform division. You cannot do that if it's a string. You can only do that with numbers. So this is why you need typecasting over here. Another one is performing calculation with the right kind of data types. So suppose you get a data from somewhere, from internet, and maybe it is in the form of a string, and you want to divide those numbers, or you want to maybe do certain things with that number, and you cannot do that unless it is on proper data type. Also to avoid runtime errors. So let's understand these things through some example. So how do you check the type of a variable? So suppose I have three variables, x equal to 10, y equal to 3.5, and z equal to 100. You can type what that is by using the type command over here. Sorry, by using the type syntax. So in this case, type statement is going to it's going to print the type of x. In this case, it's integer. What is the type of y? Well, it's a float because of the presence of decimal. Float. What about the type of z? Well, it looks like a digit to me. It looks like a number, but actually it is not. Python is going to treat this as a string because of this double quote right here. And sure enough, it prints out string right here, type C. Let's look at some of the common type casting functions. So there is a string integer, float for converting to float, string str which is converting to string, and also bool which is for converting into boolean. Let's focus on casting to integer first. Suppose you get a data x equal to 10 in the form of a string, and you want to perform division. You want to divide this thing by 10. Well, here's the problem. You cannot divide string, because this is a string, by 10. But you got the data in this format. So how would you solve this problem? And let's just make sure that it is a string. So let's just take a look. And sure enough, look at that. It is a string right here. So how do you solve problems like this? Well, the solution is simple. You just take this integer string, you get the data from internet or anywhere else, and you typecast. Okay, using int function, you typecast into integer. Now, when you perform division, x divided by 10, it is going to work just fine. And as you can see, it prints out the result 1.0. And I'm also printing the type just to see what the type is, and it prints out int right here. Because at this line right here, I have changed the x from string to an integer. I have typecasted it. Uh, Let's look at this one right here. Here, my a equal to 10.8. So this is a float, and I convert this into an integer, and I print x in this case. So when I run this, you can see that when you take a float number and convert into an integer, it's going to remove the decimal part. The only part that will be remaining would be integer part. Sometimes there's an invalid conversion. For example, you cannot do typecasting of a hello. It doesn't work, make sense, because hello is not a number. If I run this, it's going to throw me an error. You're going to see an error like this: invalid literal for int with base 10 hello. That is a problem. But if I change this hello to maybe 12, run this, and it's going to work just fine. Go back to hello, and it's a problem for you. Okay, so this is invalid. Now let's focus on casting to float. And the way you do is by using the float function. So suppose I have my a equal to 5, some number. In this case, is an integer, and I can convert into a float by using this float inbuilt function. X equal to float a, print out your x, and this will print out 5.0. And as you can see, this is a float now. What about this right here? In this case, my a is a string, and this is 3.14. I want to convert this into a float. So x equal to float a, print out your x, run this, and it prints out 3.14. Now let's look at casting to string using str function. So suppose my age is equal to 25, my score is 99.5, and I want to print a message. And the message is age is and whatever the age is. So in this case, I'm using concatenation. So this one right here is a concatenation operator. So I want a message to print, say age is and whatever this number is, 25. And also for the score, I want to maybe I want on the screen to be printed score is and the whatever the score is, 99.5. So in this case, what I'm doing, I'm taking my string, I'm concatenating with another string. So my age is an integer, I'm converting into string. This way I can concatenate. Same thing with my score, it is a float, I'm converting into string and concatenating these two together, and it creates these two strings, message one and message two. And then I print my message one, message two, and as you can see, it prints out just fine. What if I remove this str? So let me just show you. Let me remove this str over here, and let's see what it does. And it's gonna throw an error. And the error is because this right here, it is concatenating. It's taking this string and is adding. Okay, or I should not use the word, sorry, my apologies, not adding, it's combining this string with this string. So the proper word is concatenating. It's concatenating these two strings together. Well, the problem is this is not a string, so it cannot concatenate. The solution is you put str in front of it. That's gonna convert into string, and now when you run this, and there you go, it works just fine. And now there is casting to boolean using bool function. So a few rules you have to remember. These ones will always give you false. So for example, 0 will give you false, 0.0 will give you false, empty string will give you false, none will give you false. Everything else is going to true. What do I mean by all these rules? Well, let's understand this through an example. So the first one says 0 is going to return false. All right, so if I type bool 0, let me comment each one of these out. You can see that. Come here, let's run this, and there you go. So if I say print bool 0, the answer is false. That's what this means right here. What about 0.0? Well, you can go come over here, type 0.0, run it, and it is false. What if it's bool 1? All right, let's see what it does. And the answer is true. Why? Because only these four ones is going to give you false. Everything else is going to give you true. All right. What about this one? Empty string. If I type print bool empty string, that will fall in this category right here. So in this particular instance, it's going to give me a false value. Let's run this. Oops, sorry. Let's come over here, run it again. There you go. It prints out false. What about none? If I type none over here, what do you think will do? Well, the answer is false. Check it out by yourself. What about this right here, string? If I type print bool python, well, that's going to give fall in this category right here. So it's going to print me, or it's going to give me true. So when I run this, it gives me true right here. What about if I type print bool 100, and the answer is true because it does not fall in this category. So just be mindful, false, all these numbers will give you false, everything else, bool function is going to return true. And then there is input function. The user input, it always comes in the form of a string. So for example, let's take a look at this one. Here my name equal to input, enter your name. I'm asking user to enter your name. Let's run this. So enter your name, it prompts the user. Let's say the user enters Ash. Enter, and it says hello Ash because it prints out this right here, hello name. And this name right here that comes from here is always going to be string. What if you get a number? What if you get a number and you want to do something to that data? You want to add something to that. So let's do this one. In this case, it's asking the user enter your age. So enter your age. Let's say the age is 23, and I want to know what the type is. That's all I want to do right now. And you can see, oops, sorry. Let's come over here, run it, and there you go. It says class str. Now, if I perform some type of computation, I want to say new age equal to age plus 1. I want to take this age and add 1 to that. Well, there's a problem with that. Let me see that. There you go. And you can see that can only concatenate str, not int to str. And the problem is this AGE is coming out as an string, not as an integer. So how do we fix this problem? Well, the solution is simple. Come down here, this one, and convert that into an integer. So what I'm doing, basically this is the same code as the one on the top, except now when I'm taking an input from the user, I'm just putting int over here. So now whatever input you get from the user, it is going to get converted into integer. In other words, it's going to get typecasted. Then I'm doing my new age is equal to age plus 1, and then I'm writing a little message over here. Next year you will be this age. All right, let's run this. Enter your age, 23, enter, and what just happened? This over here was a string, got converted into integer. This int function took care of that. then you added 1 to that, and then you print this message. And this is how you get this message. Let's look at a real life calculator. Suppose you're asking a user to enter your first number, enter your second number, and then you want to do some addition. So in this case, enter your first number. Let's say first number is 12. Enter your second number. Let's say is 4. So my 12 has been converted into float. My second number has been converted into float. So then you take this float plus this float is equal to another float. This is some result. And then I'm printing my result. And in this case, the answer is 16.0. Thank you.